What's up? It is Renee Misha. In this tape, we're going to talk about speakers versus headphones, when I use what I like to use, and also give you some tips if you make music, and a little bit of behind the scenes. So when I started out with the Yamaha HS8s. Those were phenomenal speakers. They sound like gold. They're nice and sparkly. The high-end detail is amazing. However, like many have found, you might need to use a subwoofer when you use those. So what I ended up having was no low end in my songs, no low end in my mixes. I don't even have any of those songs posted up right now. Maybe I'll put them on like a B-sides or something like that in the future. But I found that when it comes to speakers, I'll tell you what I end up going through or with. So I started off with the Alesis MK2s. Those speakers are phenomenal. They give you a great balanced mix and they're fun to listen to music through. They're also very inexpensive. I found when I paired those with a good subwoofer, perfect. And I got some of my favorite mixes. My mix Here I Am was one of my favorite ones, and I did it with that combination. But I wanted to be able to hear more detail in the mixes and have another reference, so that's when I got the Sennheiser HD650. So I've gone through a lot of different pairs of headphones. These open backs are still my favorite. They have taken a beating. I cannot tell you the amount of times I have dropped these, stepped on these, and I'm blown away by the fact that they are not cracked. I don't know what kind of plastic they used when they made these, but they are still holding up just fine. The only thing about these is I had to replace the cable once or twice because the cable itself can get like really twisted up and it's hard to get it back. And I had to definitely replace out the foam. So I had to replace out the foam on these once, and you can get the factory foam for really inexpensive. So that's what's great about Sennheisers, is they keep things really up to date. So yeah, the foam before it was all like shredded up after a few years, but I was able to get it replaced out and it is fantastic. But what I found for open back headphones is they can be a disaster when you are recording a vocal and you can hear, depending on how loud I listen to my music, I can hear my mix playing back really loud into the microphone. Sometimes it's not a big deal, but sometimes it is, depending on the type of vocal I'm doing. So that's why I got some really good monitoring headphones. These are also great for when I'm playing my guitar really loud and I want to be able to focus on the drums and stuff like that. This is perfect. So for those, I got the Sennheisers. I don't use these that often. I only use them for tracking. Now, these are some of the worst headphones, in my opinion, for listening back to music in just like enjoyable mode. They're not for that. Like eventually your ears can probably adjust, but for just listening to a song for enjoyment, not good. For checking a mix after it's already done to see how flat things are, okay, I've heard some people say they, get good results with that, but I only use them for monitoring for the most part. Perfect for monitoring. I've had no issues with them for that. Okay, and then now, I think every single recording studio or setup has one of these, and if not, probably should. These are the Sony Professional MDR 750 6s. Now they have a upgraded version to these. I have not heard them yet. I'm looking forward to hearing how those sound at some point. As you can see, these are definitely very worn and shredded up. They look actually older than they actually are right here, but these are classics. They are in so many studios, so many setups, and they're just a good balanced pair of headphones. I've noticed with these, my ears adjust really quickly, so that's cool. They sound good. I mainly only use them when I'm checking like voiceover type stuff or like spoken, no music really. But for music, they can sound good. I wouldn't use these for mixing though, because it doesn't have the fullness and the range that some of the other headphones have. I also have to point out, of course, these are closed back. For mixing, I don't really like using closed. I like using open. As things went on, I got a pair of NS10s. I don't use them enough, because the NS10s have their own little configuration and their own little setup. So for that, I have to use a big power amplifier. Not a big deal, but it also has to use a separate power source. So I use the Behringer. So the NS10s are great. I have noticed that when I use those on mixes, they do not lie. They are fantastic. They're everything that they say they are. I'm glad I got a pair. I don't use them all the time, and I really should. The NS10s, like, if you hear your mixes on those and it sounds good, it probably sounds great. And that's the cool thing about the NS10s. But every now and again, if I'm in a hurry, I'll skip using the NS10s. But I want to show you my favorites. So if I had to skip past all of these different speakers, headphones, everything, and just go straight to what would I get right now, I would get a pair of the ILouds. The little ILouds are phenomenal. I heard about these from one of my favorite mixers. He talks about how he loves running all of his mixes through here, and he said that they sound pretty close, if not really close to how his master sounds, just by running them through here. And he talks so highly about these that I got them, and they're absolutely phenomenal. They have a series of a bunch of different ranges on them. So you have flat, you have desk, you can actually adjust the EQ settings, the high filter, the low filter. You can also use them with your Bluetooth devices. And the cool part about these, they're so light, I can actually move them around and put them in any room. So, I mean, you can't go wrong with these. They sound great, and they're extremely loud. iLoud is actually the perfect name because these things get way louder. I think I have never really turned the volume up past like 15%. It's just too loud. They're great, and the cool part about these is I can move them into different rooms. So if I want to hear how the mix is going to sound in a different room using these, perfect. And because of Bluetooth, I can actually connect it with reference mixes, which is great. Outside of that, I have a pair of like really basic $20 computer speakers. I also like to use from time to time. These are really helpful for hearing how it's going to sound. You know, a lot of people listen to music through cell phones these days, so that's really helpful. The best mixes that I've done, the ones that I'm really happy with, are the ones where I listen to it on multiple playback devices. Always go through and listen to it on multiple devices, you know, wait one extra day I find. And sometimes it's just a couple of little tweaks. That's my favorite setup for speakers. If you are a musician, a recording engineer, a mixer, a master, what are your favorite speakers to use? And if you are a casual mixer, you love listening to music, but you don't record, what do you listen through? Do you listen through a big pair of speakers? Do you listen through headphones, earpods, or just your regular cell phone? Let me know in the comments below. I hope you have an awesome, cool, fun, amazing rest of the day. Like and subscribe. Please hit the notification bell and set it to all so you don't miss a upcoming video. And check out my other videos. I hope you have an awesome day. Thanks so much for watching and hanging out. Till next time.